Building a complex AI system requires a unique skill set. Adding onto it the underlying complexities of an AVS just make the whole process resource intensive and present a huge development barriers. So again, the idea is that Othentic abstract away all of the low-level AVS components and allow builders to focus on the core service, on the core protocol.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Coordinated. So we all know, like if you are following this, AVSs, which are a very key integral part of the EigenLayer ecosystem. And you have seen me and from the Coordinated channels that we have talked a lot of thing about AVSs. But one thing, if you are a developer or somebody who is a tech personnel, or even if you're not somebody who's into marketing front, you know that deploying an AVS is not an easy job. It needs a significant amount of knowledge about understanding Ethereum's proof of stake, now EigenLayer, and then mixing up all those things, which is unlocking various new type of innovations. You need to have a significant tech knowledge. And this kind of divides your attention. It kind of shifts your attention from the core focus of launching an app to managing the overhead of the AVS. Today we have somebody, a protocol and its founder, who are kind of simplifying the entire job. We have Yarden, founder of Authentic. They're building a platform which kind of simplifies the AVS deployment journey. Without me studying any further thing, I like to welcome Yarden. Hey Yarden, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Eden, for coming and doing this with us. Want to know main thing before we go into Authentic and how it simplifies the entire AVS stuff. Want to know about your background, how you came into crypto and what led you to found Authentic eventually.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Awesome. So my background is in venture capital. I used to be a VC investor, investing in mainly early stage software-based companies. I did it for 5 years before establishing Authentic. Before that, I used to manage an accelerator with Microsoft and Salesforce. Again, early stage software-based companies. I got into crypto somewhere around 2016, 17-ish, while working at in a startup that builds a protocol on top of Ethereum. So Ethereum was my first dive into this complex ecosystem. So this is my quick background story. I can dive in a bit how we got to build Authentic.
Yeah, sure. I think before Authentic, you just mentioned you were you were mainly in the Ethereum ecosystem. How you discovered EigenLayer from your journey of in crypto, basically.
Okay, that's great. So more than a year and a half ago, my co-founder Dean and I, basically we saw this EigenLayer, a new primitive. We were trying to build a protocol and bootstrapping security, bootstrapping the validator set, bootstrapping the stake, the capital to secure the network was not an easy job. It was a super fragmented and manual process. We were basically needed to knock on doors of validator as a service, institutional staking providers, and basically convince them to give us their attention, their infra resources, and so on and so forth. So this process was very manual. In some point in time, we realized, okay, there is this thing called EigenLayer, which allows us to efficiently bootstrap security for a network and introduce an open marketplace to engage and interact with network operators. And for 6 months, we developed an AVS. And during this time, we basically understood all of the complexities, the bits and bytes, the problems that other builders will have to face. Because instead of focusing on what we do best, which is building our protocol, building our product, we were busy developing all of the underlying low-level info components, such as consensus on off-chain computation, peer-to-peer networking, message passing mechanism, where do the operators submit their attestations, how does the protocol audit those attestations and distribute rewards, enforce penalties and slashing. Of course, we were needed to deploy our own unique business logic onto the AVS design, make some unique configuration, adding logic, and of course develop all of the smart contracts for the AVS. So at some point in time, we realized, oh, let's make it available for other builders to use. And this is how we came up with the Authentic stack.
Yeah, like before we like dive into what Authentic is and how it's simplifying this thing, I think one thing we should know what is an EVS. The reason being why I'm asking is many people are in that dilemma why you should build an AVS, or like why they should why they shouldn't use a, let's say, somebody in the roll-up infra or using or launching something in other L1s and L2 versus why building an AVS. Like another reason of asking you me this like kind of basic question, because I think from an Authentic standpoint, it is very important for people to understand what AVS is, because the point when they understand AVS, then they will want to build the AVS using the Authentic stack. So like giving the context, I just want to ask you two questions. What is an AVS? And or continuing with that, why one should build an AVS?
All right, that's a great question. So indeed, I think the scope of AVS right now is a bit like unmet, because there are many people that don't have like a clear understanding what could potentially be an AVS. So they clearly see the financial benefits, of risk-taking to maximize rewards on the same stake. But the idea of AVS is basically how can we bootstrap a product, a network, a protocol, a service, middleware, infra, application, okay, with underlining a decentralized foundation. This is not a roll-up. This is not an app chain. This is not an L1. This is not an L2. It's somewhere in between, okay? So AVS can serve either as a component within a larger system. Okay, for instance, an L2 can leverage AVS as an internal component for authorization service to decrypt specific data. Okay. And on the other end, AVS can serve as the core infra of the service. For instance, executing AI agents strategies. Okay, so either could be an AVS. I love to break down the AVS, pillars into four main categories. One is each AVS has its own unique computing use case. So AVS is indeed like a complex system that needs to fill some sort of like a computing purpose. Okay, it needs to create value for other applications, for other network, for other services. So you can definitely imagine it as sort of like a SaaS-based product, or ones that basically provide value directly to the end user. So this is the first point. Basically, AVS has its own unique computing purpose, computing use case. Secondly, it's a proof of stake network, because operator, in order to opt in to work for the AVS, to validate the AVS computation, they need to stake a certain amount of token, basically to participate in the consensus process. Okay, the proof of stake, or the capital that in line or in risk to get slash, ensures that they have skin in the game and they are incentivized to work honestly and aligned with the network or the product goals. Okay, so unique compute use case, proof of stake network. The third point is most of the AVSs, I would say 95% of the AVSs, has off-chain logic, off-chain execution, and on-chain validation. Okay, so the idea is to offload computational resources off-chain while validating those computation in a decentralized fashion. Okay? And last but not least, each AVS has its own validation semantic or operator sets. Okay, so AVS can configure or basically require the operators to participate within some sort of like a framework with ground rules. Okay, so they have their own governance policies. They have their own security policies. Okay, so they can basically define the economical ground rules in order that basically align with their needs for operators to opt in to participate. So this is how I defined the AVS scope.
Pretty interesting. I think, as I mentioned, here then comes the authentic. Now, like we got the context of what's AVS and kind of why we need an AVS. How I understand AVS is, correct me if I'm wrong, that is, there is Ethereum, there is then EigenLayer, which is taking this Ethereum security, which was only used to validate the network, kind of run the Ethereum network. Now EigenLayer comes in, taking those operators and giving it to everybody, so that those network operators can not only use to secure the Ethereum network, but they can secure various services, and that may lie off chain also. So like, so I, in my mind, I used to paint a picture that okay, there is Ethereum, there is EigenLayer, and there is this EVSs which are built on EigenLayer. But when I saw the authentic doc, there is this authentic stack which comes between EigenLayer and the AVS. So, like, want you to explain that what are the things authentic is doing, and like why is that, like, why authentic, how authentic is coming in the middle layer between EigenLayer and AVS basically.
Yeah, definitely. Just to recap the previous point, at the end of the day, AVS is a product. Okay, it's a service. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, it's a distributed system. It's a distributed service with many like underlining components. So what Authentic is? Yeah, so Authentic is AVS development framework. And the idea here is not about fast deployment or easy deployment. Okay, you can use CLI to deploy a sample AVS, within a few hours, I would say. Our goal is to expand the design space of what could be an AVS. Okay, so again, each AVS has its own unique purpose, right? How can you apply this, unique business logic, this unique service onto the AVS architecture? And this is the biggest challenge. So you can imagine the authentic stack as a canvas with all of the essential building blocks to spin up AVS, highly configurable, highly versatile in all aspects of the development, whereas underlining complexities around consensus, around peer-to-peer communication, messaging, cross-chain messaging, operators, attestations are all abstracted away from the teams and allow them to focus again on what they do best, which is building their core product. Okay, that's the idea. Important to mention here that the stack is not a blockchain, it's not a network. So there is zero reliance on Authentic as a middleware service. Okay, it's a framework with production-ready components for developers to use.
Hmm. All right. So let's say I'm somebody who is thinking to build an AVS, right? And let's say without Authentic, I have to figure out everything from scratch, how EigenLayer is working, how the smart contracts are working, and all. So how Authentic will ease of my journey? If you can talk something about that.
Yeah, definitely. We have some feasible boilerplate or example or samples which devs can use. So in our docs, for instance, we have a quick start guide, which basically developers can go through like a step-by-step guide to deploy a sample AVS. Okay, using boilerplate, we are using a price Oracle as a boilerplate. We have a few more. But once they deploy this price Oracle AVS, it serves as some sort of like a cornerstone, okay, a boilerplate that they can build on top of that and apply their own unique product, their own unique service onto it. What the stack allows, and this is super important, is developers can develop or build the AVS in any programming language.
Is it already live? That thing is already live. Like anybody can build an AVS in any language. Is it already live in the mainnet?
Yes, it's live. We are live on mainnet. There are 3 AVSs that using the stack on mainnet, another 15 on testnet. In general, there are 40 teams that are building with the stack. And yes, it's live. We have some open source examples on our GitHub, where developer build their AVS in, you know, in different programming languages. Yeah.
I think one thing I want to know that in if we compare this to, let's say, a Web 2 context, like, I'm a non-dev, okay? So let's say there are this many tools like Bubble and all this thing framework where you can build production ready apps and web apps, not only like a website using drag and drop tools, but they have their own limitations. There are many things which a customized web app can do, which just drag and drop tools can't do. I'm not saying Authentic is a drag and drop tool. You need a complete full-fledged coding knowledge to kind of work with that. But is there are some limitations using Authentic Stack, or like we are getting the like all the like freedom to do anything with this?
So great questions. Our goal is to be agnostic to any type of use case. Okay, so the idea is that devs can build anything. Okay, and this is like top of our mind is to be agnostic to any type of use case. Okay, ranging from oracles to exploit prevention systems, to decentralized identity and key stores, automation, AI agents, and AI data labeling, pre-confirmations, of course, intent solvers. So there are a wide variety of use cases that currently are being built using the stack. And on the other hand, and again, what we try to do is to expand the design space. So building a company, it's not an easy task. Building, a full-fledged product, it's not an easy task. Okay. But the idea here is that you need to focus again on the product itself and not on the low-level components, okay, that can be abstracted away.
Hmm. Pretty much it. I think like just like few days back, I just put one tweet. It did pretty well. People are appreciating that. Like less product, more use cases. I think to figure out the product, like what authentic product is, I think that is kind of the job of mainly the devs or the protocol engineers. I think what I want to do is to like spread awareness about the AVSs and like people like devs who can build on this. So I will like switch a conversation to the use case part. Although you are talking about them a little bit here and there, but just want to know in depth. If I ask you like, what are the possibilities of like AVSs and like how authentic is kind of accelerating that, if you can say that.
Definitely. So first thing, we have on our docs, we have a section dedicated for potential use cases. and we are continuously updating the use cases over there. And on the other end, we just rolled out an article about AI and AVS's use cases with potential architectural designs. We're gonna delve in the next few weeks on each specific use case and break it down to the components that needed to develop or how it can be built using the stack. Other than that, we're gonna release on a bi-weekly basis. We're gonna release and introduce a new use case that can be built using the stack, from decentralized point systems to intent solvers. So definitely, this is something that we as a team we just love to do. We just love to think through design ideas, and we are super excited to work with builders, and that's the thing. We work hands-on with the builders, especially on the throughout the deployment phase of the AVS. And yeah, we get to know many novel innovations, and that's definitely something that we love to do. And for the use cases, I can quickly go through some use cases that are being built and using the stack. And what do you think?
Yeah, sure. I think that will be better. If you can just quickly give us, like, let's say your top five categories, or top five according to you. Like, what do you think? Like, in top of your mind, or that can go very big, or you are bullish about particularly?
Yeah, definitely. So, as you saw, I think AI, basically AVS can supercharge AI systems, okay, ranging from authorization network for AI agents, where the end user can configure a policy of requirement, what the agent is allowed to do, and giving the inherent functionalities of programmable finance, which blockchain has. Agents can be, super powered, within the blockchain rails. So end user can configure the policy, what the agent allowed to do. Okay, imagine this. We are we are humans. We are limited in our processing capabilities. Okay, but intelligence system can digest unlimited amount, or not unlimited, but a large amount of data in real time. So now you have 200 different DeFi protocols, and you're about to take a flash loan to leverage some spatial rate that you see. Agent can basically calculate in real time what would be the best route, what would be the optimal rates, what would be the optimal task to execute to leverage this blockchain rail or financial rails. So definitely authorization network. This is something that we see as a great potential to be built as an AVS. We are working with, for instance, OpenLedger. OpenLedger, they are working on data labeling, basically a verified data labeling to consume by machine learning models. And this is also a great use case. So now you have verified data sets and verified data clusters, right? So for instance, you can cluster data sets into healthcare, automotive, financial, and have those data sets verified and basically punish dishonest actions of data contributors. So this is also a great use case for an AVS. And of course, verified training models could be potentially be built as an AVS. So this is like in terms of like the scope of AI and AVSs. I'll give you like another example. We are working with the Skate. Skate building an infrastructure for stateless apps. So you as the end user can, communicate and work on one app, which the underlying interoperability is connected to many different chains, whether if it's SVM or EVM chains. What Skate is building is a pre-confirmation components within their existing infrastructure. So as I mentioned before, right, AVS could be the core infra of a product, but it could also perform as internal component within a larger system. We are working with also with Van. Van is building an exploit prevention system where they can analyze transactions for other protocols, for other networks, and initiate circuit breaks once malicious activity is being detected, right? So a completely different use case, but still an AVS. So this is just a few examples.
Yeah, I think this what you just told, I think this will open up lots of minds, because whoever will be hearing, I think most who are devs and all who are in the technical part, they will hear this, and the way the kind of categories those are very different, and those will like kind of open up new use cases in their mind, and they can think, okay, how I can use Authentic and like do stuff. I want to touch base a little bit on the AI and the AI agent part. Why? Because it's all over now. If you see, all Twitter attention is about AI and AI agents. Particularly, I haven't seen much AI based EVSs on EigenLayer. Like might be there are new coming up, but based on my observation, and I'm talking with lots of teams, nobody's saying, "Hey, I'm building an AI agent EVS." But yesterday, I saw your thread and the blog, kind of a thread you released, and I think a blog post along with it, which mentioned AI AVS and like how Authentic is powering that. So like I know you mentioned that, but I want to know of, if you just want to deep dive, like what are the use cases of AI, particularly AI agents, which are possible with AVSs, and how Authentic is powering that.
Yeah, definitely. So we used AI agents within a larger scope of space, which is authorization for AI agents. Um, okay, so for instance, let's say I'm a platform, right, where the end user can generate its own AI agents with its own run rules, okay, with its own authentication and authorization policies, basically what type of action can this agent execute, okay? So for instance, the AVS, okay, this agent has, some off-chain logic, okay? So now there is like an opportunity to leverage. So he needs to execute some logic, some off-chain calculation, right? He needs right now to calculate what would be the best route to transfer value from point A to point B, given there is like an arbitrage opportunity on whatever chain, okay? And he needs to bridge his fund from point A to point B. Okay, so there is a logic that needs to be calculated and then being executed. Okay, so here the AVS basically perform as the execution and validation. So execution happens off chain. Basically, what would be the optimized execution, okay? And the validation happens on chain, meaning the operators, okay, they need to attest on the validity of the execution. Okay, so agents say, okay, I need to execute this task on behalf of the user, okay? He send the result to the network of attestors to validate, okay? They are asking themselves, okay, this is like the most optimized execution option, okay? Can we attest to the validity of this task? And they vote, okay? I approve, I approve, okay? I disagree. Once the AVS network gets into 66% of the nodes, it's not really the nodes, it's the voting power of the node, but for the sake of simplicity, if 66% of the nodes in the network approve that, okay, this is the most optimized route, okay, this is like the a right execution, okay, only then it's being executed. With the stack, basically, this what I just described here is like a flow of a task, and this is how the authentic stack works. Um, so once they get those 66% that agree, only then the task is being submitted and validated on chain. Okay, this all happens off chain through a peer-to-peer network.
Yeah, I think that's pretty technical. I think this kind of conversations will be better if we can have some you or somebody demonstrating in some charts and all, because I have to visualize a lot of things. So I think we can do sometime to like for the people to just think and evaluate on that. And as you mentioned, the dedicated threads are also coming soon about each of the use cases. I think people will be benefited a lot about that. I think one thing is like coming at the end towards the end of the conversation, I have a few questions. That is, I think the mainnet is live. Lots of like key partnerships I'm seeing daily on Authentic Twitter getting live. I think just a few. I think today only some announcement went up. I think some AI agent platform only partnered with Authentic to build a thing. So new updates are coming. Any major update we are expecting like this year or Q1 2025?
Um, yes, we have a few projects in line currently on stealth. Um, yeah, we are, as you know, we are working with many AVSs to date. We are working with some more, I would say, well-known, established companies on the AVS side. And on the other end, yes, we are working with the operators, with the AVS operators, where we can provide more value for them as well. From exposing like internal data that currently is not exposed, for instance, where they can have better, financial and DevOps possibilities within the AVS ecosystem. Um, and nothing that I can publicly announce yet, but I will make sure to keep you posted. Yeah.
I think just you like raised one thing. I think I want to know a little bit about that. I think the slashing is not be like enabled yet, and you just mentioned about operators. Like when the slashing thing will be enabled, I think some workflows will be changing. Want to know a little bit about that? Like what is slashing preventing authentic to explore more at this stage?
So our infra is ready for a slasher to be active, right? Basically, how it works that AVS developers they can configure the slashing and penalty condition, okay? And once those conditions are met, whether if it's on operators' misbehavior or misattestation or offline behavior, so the infra, basically the stack distribute event to EigenLayer slasher, says this operator needs to get slash, okay, and this is why. All right. So on our end, the infra is ready, and of course, we've been working with the Eigen team for the past year and a half. We have a very close personal and strategic relation with the team. So we are completely coordinated and aligned with the team, and looking forward for the slasher to be activated. Yeah.
Cool. I think before we wrap up, I do one thing with all the areas founders. Basically, I'll ask three questions. Those are necessarily not new questions, like we have discussed already, but you have to answer that in under 1 minute. So, yep, you can
Let's
take the full 1 minute. Like you don't need to answer in 2 or 3 words. but like you can take 40-50 seconds, but yeah, basically keeping that under 1 minute. So yeah. So question number one is what is AVS?
AVS could be anything. It's a distributed service. It's a product. It's an infrastructure middleware application, okay, that provide a value in the form of computation to other networks, to other application, or internally for to serve its own infrastructure.
Okay, nice. Question number two is what are the five top categories of AVSs which are possible and authentic?
Okay, AI and the AI subcategories, intent solvers, uh, oracles, um, decentralized databases. This is form, right?
Hmm. Yeah, port.
It's like asking who is your favorite kid, you know. Um, let's say key store and identity.
Hmm. Last one. How authentic is accelerating AI agent space?
So building a complex AI system require, like a unique skill set. Adding onto it the underlying complexities of an AVS, right, it just make the whole process, a resource intensive and present a huge development barriers. So again, the idea is that Authentic abstract away all of the low-level AVS components and allow builders to focus on their core service, on their core protocol.
Cool, awesome. I think you did a great job answering such complex things in under 1 minute. I think thanks, Yarden, for coming to our show. I think we'll obviously would like to invite you more and discuss about more AVS things, and or whenever Authentic is doing some major partnerships or some major new announcements. I'm sure there'll be more major upgrades which will be coming soon. We'll like to have you more and discuss all the AVS things.
Thank you again for having me, and would love, of course, to be there in the next episodes.
Yeah. Thanks, Yarden.